of football is momentum, you could say, and you play, and winning becomes a habit. So there is that argument to it. I get that, and I'm sure there will be players that were knocking on the door who have played, non-league for the majority of their career and would not have had the opportunity to step into a facility like this, or very few and far between, and play on a surface that's, top European standard. So there might have been a few knocking on the door and saying, "Oh, can I play? But please, boss." But I think the bigger picture is Wrexham need to follow up the win we had against Bromley at home, which is a valuable 3 points, and put a bit of a run together in the league. And then, if we get the result against Rochdale, it's more of a beneficial financially, and that may allow Dean Keats to then perhaps go into a transfer and strengthen that league campaign. For me, if Wrexham was sitting pretty at the top of the league, and you could everything's going well, you could argue that you can afford to put a stronger team out in certain competitions. But the reality is we're not, and that needs to be addressed first as a priority.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable reading of it. Although I do think the point's fair that there be certain players who, they've played non-league or lower division all their lives, who are thinking a chance will be at Ibrox. Maybe I wouldn't have minded the match. But we've appointed a pragmatist in Dean Keats, and he knows what's important and what's not. And the important thing is that we have the chance to beat Rochdale, get the cash which would help us to drive on in the league. And he knows that's his bread and butter, doesn't he, really?
Yeah. I mean, I do feel sorry a little bit for the travelling fans again. 970 perhaps, maybe a few more by the time if they manage to get extra tickets or whatever on the day, have travelled up. But I think they were under the impression that it was very much a day out to go and see, Rangers at Ibrox, and that side of it more than they were expecting to see the first team. So, there may be a few disappointed fans, but I think reality, if you look at the teams we played so far in this competition, it's
it's consistent with that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's logical.
All right then, crystal balls out. No effect. Does that get us taken off air? No. What if we'd picked our first team here? From what we've seen of Rangers, what would have happened? That's what Guardiola does, isn't it? Supposedly, he shuts himself in his office after a match and looks at videos of the other side until he can envisage how his team are going to play against them. So there you go. Do your Guardiola bunker thing.
That's a difficult one. If you had the main first team out here today, would it have been any different? Potentially a few more chances, but I think on the whole of it, I think that they're a really good technical side that can play around. I think maybe if you did have the first team, obviously they're more experienced, maybe stronger physically than some of the younger players we've got out, so maybe they put their stamp on them players a bit more than we have so far in this game. I don't know, it's a difficult one to look at.
I'm not going to use my crystal balls. I'm going to go steel balls. If we played our first team, we would have won. I think they're, as much as Rangers have been very, very impressive as a technical side and played got some pace, and I think there's some really promising players that are going to come through into the senior team for them. I think the energy and a little bit more now, particularly in midfield and up front, Bobby Grant being clever and cute with the ball, we would have picked them apart. There's a little bit you've shown we've seen a little bits when we have attacked that the defence isn't perhaps as strong and is open to chances, and I think size-wise, maturity-wise, apart from Mayo, we would have competed in that midfield and overrun that. So I don't think they would have been allowed to play as much as perhaps we're allowing them with some of our play, and that's no disrespect to the team, because I think you play these players in 4 or 5 years' time, it's a completely different story, but we're playing here and now.
Yeah, I'm inclined to see it that way. I must admit, when I saw that Rangers would have international call-ups as well, I did think that if we picked our first team, it would be a pretty comfortable game. Now, Rangers look a bit stronger than I expected them to be, and we haven't picked that strong team. But like you said, I think midfield is the issue for us, isn't it, really? I mean, you look at, you got Cleworth and Jones, who before today had started 3 games and had 1 sub-appearance between them. That's not much experience. And then, to be fair, Redmond's not that experienced. This is only the 41st game of his senior career, and they've failed to hold Rangers at bay, haven't they? The game's been played to a great extent 30 yards out from our goal, and you're right, Summerfield, Wright and Young, quite apart from their strength and superior quality on the ball, physicality of players like Wright, the young lads wouldn't enjoy playing against him.
No, I mean, you look at Chambers and Tharm, big lads. Atataki and a few others. They're not going to compete aerially or physically with them. What they have done is use their nous in the passing round them. Pearson, Jake Lawler, James Jennings, Mark Carrington, I don't think would have been as susceptible to that. Luke Young sitting there in midfield and pinging balls and winning tackles. You looked at Oswell's challenge in the first few minutes, and a few fans were shocked. Well, that's a standard non-league challenge that we're used to seeing. So yeah, it is what it is. Is it a competition that you're in the quarterfinals? You've got a chance to go to the semis and the final. It would have been a fantastic. Once you get to the levels, it's a fantastic win. We're not out of it yet. Still 1-0, but it's been a fantastic opportunity to come to use these facilities.
Yeah, absolutely. There was another Ask Wrexham question which isn't showing up here. I think they replied to me and didn't tag Ask Wrexham into it. Hello, hang on, I may find it here. It was about here we are. Chris Johnson, if we win, when and where will the final be played? Well, we don't know, and nobody else does either. It isn't played at Hampden Park. It's been played. This tournament, this is the 20th year of the tournament, and it's been played at 10 different venues, so it's shifted around. The most common venue is Perth. It's also been played quite a few times at Motherwell, but basically they pick a mutually sort of acceptable
geographical
venue. Yeah, which if it's us, I think with Kononski last year, basically just means you can't pick you're not going to go halfway and play in Sheffield, are you?
Well, we could play Berwick. That's like separate. Then no one's playing in their actual country of origin.
Great, yeah, absolutely. It's been played once at Hampden Park, but that was because Rangers were in the final.
Yeah.
So that doesn't bother us, because Rangers in the final, we certainly aren't. So that's sorted, hopefully. We had another question. Hugh Phillip, have Wrexham ever played at Ibrox before? Absolutely not. Like I said in the pre-match, our three most northerly matches. Longby in the European Cup Winners' Cup. Then this is the second most northerly game we ever played, and certainly the first time we played in Scotland in a competitive game. And then the most northerly is Djurgårdens, and we played in Stockholm. Now then, there's another interesting question here from Jordan Parry, saying, from seeing Matt Sargent last night and watching the youth in previous rounds of this cup, etc., should we not give them more responsibility as squad members 14 to 20, and spend bigger on quality on your 1 to 14 key players? Interesting question.
It is an interesting question, and Jordan's right. I think Matty Sargent is a prospect. I think he needed the loan. I think we've misused youth to a certain extent over the last few seasons. I'm thinking Leo Smith was sort of left in the squad and not getting the games, and eventually went out and is now flourishing at Carnarvon. Again, different standards, so things can happen. Doug Tharm hasn't had many games, despite being in the first team for the last 2 seasons. He went off on loan to Telford at the beginning of the season and came back. Matt Sargent, I think, is a player who's got a lot of composure on the ball. He would excel in today's game, sitting in front of that four. And there is an argument, if you've got some talented youth players, putting them. I think Dean Keats likes a smaller squad, so potentially if he's got the youth players he likes, I think you've got Jack Thorne that's out on loan at the moment, that's got a bit of promise. Matt Sargent, there's a couple of the youngsters that are today, Matt Jones and a few of the others. Bobby Beaumont's been sort of touted around that perhaps make that up, and then you could spend the budget on it. The only, I suppose, danger is, but then you've got the low market, that if you go and spend bigger on those 14 players and you get key injuries, you're very much reliant then on youngsters or getting a replacement in from a low market. So there's arguments with both sides in it, but I do think we underuse our youth potential, and it would be nice to spend some money on the bigger players. But I think you've always got your squad players. Your Rutherfords and Carringtons are always there, as not, even though at the moment they are first names on the sheets. In previous squads, they've been those squad filler players.
Certainly, I mean, I got the feeling in the Rochdale match, when we only made one substitution, that maybe Keats already has a sort of 14-man squad, the players he trusts, and so in that sense, we maybe wouldn't lose out to put young lads in to add to them, perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, he made one sub in that game, so putting a few on the bench for that sort of game and maybe calling on them when maybe if we are ahead, we can bring them on and have that experience.
Yeah.
The one positive from this competition is youth players have really gained some experience playing competitive games with first teamers, so maybe they're ready to come into it.
I mean, you look at Dean Keats' first spell. Mark, you were just talking about him using a small squad. He did that last time. He got his 11 or 12 trusted players, didn't use the bench very often, and did fill it with youngsters. George Harry and that crop of players, Tom Creamer, all got looking on the bench, and that was how he utilised them. Leo Smith as well was one of them. He appears to be doing that a little bit now with this senior squad. But yeah, it'd be interesting when Dean has a full summer and selects his own squad, what sort of size it gets. But
it'll look substantially different to this squad he's inherited, certainly. I find it interesting as well, as we're about to kick off. I mean, Keats he would have given Smith a chance, but he left. He rated Smith, and even though in Keats' second season he was loaned out, he was loaned out with an intention to give him a longer contract and build him. He had faith in him. Keats is more likely to give a young lad a chance. I think Thorne and Sargent are the ones who would be a point to contribute to the first team right now. I think these lads, there's a lot of promise in them. I'm not sure they're quite there yet. Give them another year, and Cleworth, Beaumont, Huxley's Robertson, Murray.
Huxley's a good player.
Yeah, I think are players that, and Matty Jones are players who could be contributing, because we're about to get the second half underway. Wrexham trail 1-0. Rangers Colts get going. Mayo feeding it back. Wrexham, as Lee said, improved around the half hour mark, started to threaten a little bit going forwards, and it was a shame they let a goal in during that period. Can they be a bit more on the front foot in midfield? At the moment, it's Rangers dominating possession, keeping it in their own half, but Wrexham haven't touched it yet. Rangers are happy to just shove it around. Dixon has now dropped back deep, or he's just covering for Flanagan as Rangers patiently move the ball about. Yeah, they're happy to shift it around at the back. Wrexham are happy to sit off, let them do it, and wait for them to make a mistake. And in the end, it's an ambitious long ball, and the flag goes up. That was tight. It was a great diagonal over the top from Edmondson, and breaking from, well, I thought breaking from deep. I thought that Bajonas was onside, but flag just went up late. Was it the right decision?
I agree with you. I think it was very tight, and be one that you'd want to see back from a Rangers point of view, because it was a beautiful ball over the top, and he looked at the linesman, he did put it up, but I thought he was onside.
Free kick to Wrexham on the edge of their area. Maybe had a bit of an escape there. Dibble launches it long, bit of wrestling going on. Robertson Murray gets across and forces the ball to be headed up by Maxwell. Throw to Wrexham 10 yards out in front of the Wrexham fans, who are making good noise. Taken quickly by Barnum Bob. Back into midfield, where Redmond is going backwards. He's ended up going back to the halfway line. Rangers blocked off the path forwards there. There's Cleworth as well to pop it to Redmond. He feeds it back to Chambers. He just wings a boot at it and launches it high in the air. And although Matty Jones as well to win a header, he can only head it through into the box. James made a point earlier when he was commentating about Kieran Wright from crosses. And yeah, what I thought about the cross he took, where he did take it, but he invited a challenge from McIntosh, is that it was his ball. It'd have been a poor mistake if he hadn't taken the cross, but he wanted to take it as low as he could, and to me that's a sign of a lack of confidence in the air. You take the ball as high as you can. Oh, it's a good ball on the back of Wrexham's defence. That's a Kai out of nothing, has sweat it in there, played in the goal mouth, and it drops loose, and Dibble bravely goes down at young Coombs' feet to grab it at the second attempt. It was a scrappy little incident at the near post, wasn't it?
It was, but the ball dropped for a moment and you thought, oh, it's just a tap-in for the Rangers striker, but Dibble's managed to get it. It was a lovely through ball to start the attack.
Yeah, attacking on the right-hand side, feeding it down the line. Lovely pass. Decent cross into a good area. Ball played long and flicks on towards the edge of Rangers area. It's picked up, cleared, but Jones gets it again on the left. He's run into trouble. Flanagan tackles him firmly. And remembers Flanagan as a young player at Liverpool. Recognise those sort of tackles. And now they're bringing the ball out again from the back. That's fed in. Chambers hesitates, but he will get there first. And he feeds the back pass in. Dibble knocks it away with distance. Oswell again loses in the air to Edmondson, taken on the chest by Cleworth. That's a nice idea towards Oswell. He's made it stick. Robertson Murray's going over the top. Oswell's pass goes outside. Robertson Murray wants it in the channel though, and as a result he's just beaten to it. Robertson Murray chases well, but he can't stop an excellent ball out from the back, and now Kieran Kennedy can start something. No, he can't. Great tackle on him in turn. And Wrexham now are driving forwards, fed to the edge of the area, back to goal. Oswell under pressure, has held it up well, but he's forced away from goal. It's fed back to the halfway line. Farm lets Redmond take over. Redmond turns onto his right foot. Barnum Bob's outside him. Again, Rangers though got good shape and just force Wrexham back to the halfway line. Farm, a little ball to Cleworth. Good first touch by him, but an over-ambitious ball down the flank goes out of play. Just a little moment of promise there though. Yeah,
it was better from Wrexham, It's the first time Oswald's had the ball played into him a couple of times there, and he's controlled it well. Bit of a loose ball over to Robson Murray on the other side, but, on a whole, it much better from Wrexham.
So, throwing over on the left-hand side, about 25 yards out from the Rangers goal. Thrown in to Mayo, whose touch isn't the best, but he's managed to get it back to the thrower, Maxwell. And now here again come Rangers. Breen spreading out to the left. Kennedy does well to keep that in, and Rangers are working it around once more in their own half. Wrexham seem to be trying to have a slightly higher line perhaps and push on. Looks more of a 4-1-4-1 really, the way that they're setting up at Cleworth between the lines, as the ball is carried forwards down the right hand side by Flanagan. Again, Wrexham's midfield much higher in the second half than in the first, just pushing up and trying to make Rangers move it around further away from goal, so that when Wrexham win it back they can hit them with more efficiency. Rangers switching it to the left hand side, probing. Ball over the top is a good idea towards Maxwell, but just overhit. And Wrexham at the moment are sort of keeping them at arm's length compared to the first half, aren't they?
Yeah, they've pushed higher than they were holding in the first half. They're putting more pressure on the Rangers players as well. But it only takes a split second for these players just to there's a couple of 1-2s in that first half that really outdid Wrexham, and it just takes a moment for that, and they're in. But no, much better from Wrexham, pushing a lot higher in this second half.
Here come Rangers down the left. Good challenge though. Comes in by Farm, knocking it off young Coombs, who goes behind for the goal kick. Farm's had a solid game, I think, at the back, and he's used the ball very well.
Yeah, he has. He's one of the more, he's still a young player, isn't he? But he's one of the more experienced players in this team. We're spending a few seasons with the first team now, but yeah, he's had a lot to deal with, but he's done well in there.
Goal kick. Dibble, left-footed, drills it deep. It's a huge kick that. He's gone over Oswell's head. Pop back in. And Redmond as well to control the headers to the right flank. Oswald works it down the line. Nice pass. Robertson Murray hits across. Hits a defender and spins behind. Will go for a throw, by the corner flag. Chance for Wrexham to get forwards. And Wrexham fans take encouragement from that. Barnum Bob with the ball in his hands. Nobody really offering. Is he going to try and put something in towards the edge of the box? He throws it short in the end as Redmond makes a late run. Back to Barnum Bob. Tighten the touchline. Taking on his man, pokes it inside. Redmond turns. Nice run inside him by Cleworth. Finds Cleworth, edge of the area. He feeds on the back of the defence. Good ball. Barnum Bob's cross is blocked though. That was a good position. Again, Cleworth, who's been really tidy on the ball and confident on the ball. But Barnum Bob couldn't find a teammate. As good pressing then in midfield by Matty Jones. Throw into Rangers level the edge of the area. But Wrexham was showing a bit more in the second half.
Yeah, much better. If that ball... Barnum Bob on that other side, maybe if he just dinked the ball in a little bit rather than drilling it, it would have got in. But no, Cleworth in the middle of the midfield, he's battled well, hasn't he? He's certainly got involved in the play today.
Throw then, which will be taken by Maxwell, the fill-in left back after Patterson, who was excellent in the first half at right back, had to go off, forcing a reshuffle for Rangers Colts. Ball's lifted forward, young Coombs backing in. Farm does well to hold him off. That's good play by Farm. And he feeds the back pass to Dibble. Young Coombs is chasing after it with a mop of curly hair. Dibble launches it clear easily. Oswald backing in, stood really well there, and he's won a free kick. That was great play by Oswald, who, like I said, I don't think he's imposed himself enough on these young centre-backs, but he did very well to draw a free kick there. But just maybe in shooting range?
Maybe just too far out, but Oswald doing really well. There's a few times now it's been played up to him, which wasn't happening in the first half. It was being played and he was being... maybe not bullied, but he was being beaten by their centre-backs. But in this half, he's been getting up, he's been winning them and laying it off, and won a free kick here. I don't think Redmond's going to shoot from here.
Well, the big men have gone up. Redmond stands over it. Rangers everyone back defending. Barnum Bob makes a run round the side, but Redmond floats it in. Chambers gets up too soon and heads it well wide. He got up too high, didn't he? Got up too early and couldn't control his header.
Yeah, it was just too far out. You wonder whether the ball from Redmond could have been a bit deeper, a bit closer to the goalkeeper. It was difficult to get a header in on goal from there and trouble the goalkeeper.
So, it's a goal kick taken short. Rangers work it around across the back. Still 1-0 to Rangers. 54th minute here at Ibrox. Breen to Edmondson, across to Flanagan on the halfway line. Beaumont's read his ball forwards well, but Ataki's done well to nick the ball from him. Beaumont pushes him back to the halfway line, where it's fed to Mayo. Nice touch by Mayo, just takes him away from Oswell. Rangers on the left-hand side. Wrexham's midfield dropping a little deeper than it has been this half. As it's picked up by Kennedy, he pops it to the halfway line. The ball over the top, and I say to surely Ataki's offside. He is. And it's a free kick and good discipline to Wrexham. But yeah, I am happy to see we're not dropping off so much. Keats must have been doing his nut in the first half. Seeing that happen now, having seen what they're doing now, we're pushing them back into midfield more, and they don't look quite at the half as dominant as they did in the first half.
Absolutely, and that's why it was so key to get into the break just at 1-0 down. And regroup, and Dean Keats go again with his tactics and drill it into the players and give them that bit more confidence.
Ball down the line, Redmond won it well, but Oswald had gambled down the wrong channel, so drops behind him. Swept over to the left-hand side, where Barnum Bob intercepts easily, but gives it away, and now there's a chance of a breakaway here. But Jonas crosses the halfway line, works it over the left to Kennedy, beg your pardon. Murray is in support and receives it now. And Kennedy in a central position goes driving forwards, tries to play it down the right channel. Nice idea. Tharm again is there to intercept. Beaumont now on the edge of his D has to be careful, and he is. He finds Cleworth, and Cleworth again is tidy on the ball. Beaumont's all right foot, playing at left back, does really well, draws him into him, finds Cleworth, Wrexham still in their own half, but building well. Jones now over the halfway line. McIntosh is down the flank, not really offering much though, so he has to go back inside. And Wrexham will try and recirculate over to the right. Tharm pops it on to Chambers. Wrexham enjoying a little bit of possession, but can they find a pass to unlock things? Beaumont has to go back to Dibble. And Wrexham again shift the focus from left to right. Tharm carries to the halfway, and he's been passing very well. He pings a lovely ball to Redmond, who helps her on quickly to Cleworth. Now then, chance maybe to break down the left-hand side. It's fed to Beaumont, his first chance to get forwards in this match. He comes onto his right foot. Measured approach back to Cleworth. The Rangers are forced quite deep here. Cleworth on the halfway line, being forced back by the vigilance of Mayo. Chambers now on the halfway line. Good lengthy spell of patient probing passing by Wrexham. Oswald pops it back to Chambers. 56th minute. Still Wrexham trail, but the second half's got a different feel to it. Chambers now under pressure. It's cat and mouse. Wrexham working it around in midfield, drawing Rangers players to them, weighing up if they can play it forwards. Dibble goes long in the end. Oswald flicks it on nicely. McIntosh left hand side has got his man isolated. Flanagan's not got back to help yet. McIntosh to the edge of the D. Good run, feeds it in, and Oswald can't quite get there. McIntosh appeared to be fouled, and he's on his knees. Can't understand why the ref hasn't given that. That would have been in shooting range. Here's Beaumont now coming forwards. This pass is sloppy. Cleworth has done really well to tackle young Coombs. The ref gives that one, and McIntosh is right next to the ref asking, well, why didn't he give the one on me? Certainly looked like a free kick, and if Oswald hadn't turned his back on the ball, he might have been one-on-one with the keeper anyway.
Absolutely. You think as soon as McIntosh has passed it off, he has been fouled, so you wonder why, if the referee can play advantage and then call it back, there's nothing came from it. But that was a real good passage of play there from Wrexham. So many passes in succession.
It was good, patient work. It was like watching Rangers in the first half, wasn't it?
It was. So,
it's still 1-0 to Rangers Colts, but Wrexham asking more questions in the second half without necessarily making chances yet. As Rangers now working it around at the back. Atake has dropped off to pick it up on the right. Flanagan inside him, plays neat return ball, chance for a cross from Takavia Hapsi, takes on McIntosh instead. That's good work, he's got round the back of him, hits the goal line. McIntosh recovers really well though, gets a foot to it and knocks it off the striker. Goal kick, fair play to McIntosh, good diligence there.
He got back, worked really well to stop any danger and get the goal kick as well. With Wrexham being in this game a lot more, it's certainly quieting down the Rangers fans, hasn't it?
Yeah.
We've barely heard them in the second half.
Oh, that's true, yeah, they were non-stop in the first, weren't they? I thought that was the idea, they would just be non-stop, but yeah. It's rather eerie here at the moment, isn't it, actually? As Dibble will take the goal kick. Son, of course, of a legendary Rangers keeper. The keeper that was in goal here at Ibrox when they won 9 in a row in the league. It was Andy, who, of course, finished off with Wrexham. Christian Dibble knocks it long. Robertson Murray beaten to it. Powerful header away by Maxwell. Throw to Rangers on the halfway line. Before the match, Mr. Wrexham himself, Geraint Parry, was asking me about youngest goal scorers, something I worked out before the St Mirren game and completely forgot to today. Well, here's my prediction for what's going to happen here. Max Cleworth will equalise and thus become the youngest scorer in Wrexham's history. In fact, here they come forwards now as the ball's played to McIntosh, but he's dispossessed. But then Jack Humphreys will come on to score and he'll become the youngest player in Wrexham's history, and then Nash will come on and he'll beat him as well. So there's 3 players who could set a club record today, as Cleworth makes a good tackle in midfield now. Chance of a break. McIntosh, mind you, Rangers haven't really committed men forwards. Redmond, he had to switch on, doesn't play it. He seems to take a long time to make his mind up, I feel. Robertson Murray has it now on the halfway line. Dispossessed, Wrexham fans making some noise. Or is it the Rangers fans signing their voices, actually? The ball's played then to Dixon, who pops it back to the halfway line. And Rangers suddenly see a wall of red in front of them. They've split the lines nicely, though. Good ball fed into the channel, and Dixon drills in a shot which goes comfortably wide, but they pass through as well there. And now Wrexham are going to make an attacking change. Jake Bickerstaff is going to come on. Interesting to see who makes way here. Robertson Murray's had a quiet second half and could feasibly, it is him actually. So a bit more maybe of a direct thrust down the flank, not a bad idea.
Yeah, potentially. I think he was the player that scored the 2 goals in the first game that we played in this competition. So he scored goals in this. It'd be thrilled to get out there and get off the bench onto the Ibrox pitch and be looking for that equaliser.
Yeah, Bickerstaff scored against Ayr. And he's our 14th youngest goal scorer, for your information.
There we go.
But the way time works is he'll be older if he scores today. Ball long by Dibble. McIntosh misjudges it. It bounces over his head. Bickerstaff's gone onto the right side of the front 3 as a straight swap for Robertson Murray. Wrexham got Callum Huxley in the bench, of course. He's got a lot of ability. And he might be an interesting attacking option to put on as Cleworth covers well and is fouled by Dixon. Free kick in the corner of Wrexham's box. Good covering run again by Cleworth. I thought he's impressed me in this role. He's done all right centre-back as well in the past, but he defends that back 4 well, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. To be, when you say this isn't his normal position, to come out there and play that and play here today, he has broke up play a few times. He has battled in there. It's been difficult for him, but I do still think he's had a really good game in that.
Dibble runs across to fetch the ball. Free kick to Wrexham. 61st minute here at Ibrox. And Rex trail 1-0 to Rangers Colts. Dibble prepares to hit it left-footed. With McIntosh down the flank, Oswell through the middle. It's launched long towards Oswell, who's buffeted off the ball, headed away by Edmondson. Poor touch by Chambers, he just about gets away with that. Just about beat young Coombs to the loose ball. And now it's carried forwards by Farm as the Rangers fans start making some noise again. It's Farm once more. Pushes it forwards, gets it out from his feet. Good driving run by Farm. Feeds down the right hand side, under hits it though. Bickerstaff can't get to it. Good challenge by Maxwell. Throw to Wrexham. Right hand side, just inside the Rangers half. Barnum Bob to take. Redmond offers. Receives poor touch. He sort of juggles it around to bring her under control, and having tamed it, works it back to Farm, and he drills another typical flat ball. Good ball to the feet of Oswald. Feeds it down the back of the fence. Bickerstaff now hits the goal line, pulls it across, put behind for the corner. That was really good defended by Edmondson because they were opened up there and McIntosh was waiting for the tap in.
It was, and it's so much better from Oswell. So much of a difference from his first half to his second, where he's holding it up, he's creating play, he's winning the headers, and it's created Wrexham a corner in the second half.
So corner right hand side. Wrexham again send the big men up. It's Jones and Barnum Bob who stayed back, and Jones's offering was a short option. So an away swinger by Redmond, sweeps it in. There's a 6-yard box. Keeper misses it. The head defender jumped in front of him and headed it out of his hands, and it's picked up 20 yards out on the left hand side. Bickerstaff can't get the cross in, but it's swept in there again, and it's another corner. Great ball ripped in there from the left hand side by Farm, and at the far post, defender just got up ahead of a Wrexham man to flick it behind. It's good pressure, this.
Oh, real good pressure. That ball in there from Doug Farm was absolutely fantastic. The curly got on it to put it into that danger zone, and it's another corner for Wrexham.
It was a good corner last time by Redmond. So as that thunderclap starts again, it's swept in and flicked on, and a goal behind for the goal kick. It was corner given It was swung into the near post. It must have been a Rangers head, span in the air for a second. It looked like it was going to drop nastily in the goal mouth, went just over and landed on the roof of the net. But Redmond gets a third chance to sweep a corner in. So,
keep it going. Keep it going.
By Redmond once more. Lots of big bodies around the penalty spot. Swept into that sort of area. Oswald gets up, beaten to it. And it's cleared now. Kennedy can try and break down the right-hand side. He's got an option inside if he plays it, and he does. Flanagan now, bursting forward to attack. He's got space on the far side if Flanagan can see him. But he comes forwards, and Barnum Bob draws a yellow card. And that was quite right. He came and drew the yellow. He knew he had to make that foul, or he could have been really opened up, and that's a sensible decision, I think.
Yeah, it's one of those tactical fouls where he took one for the team, took the yellow card, and had he not, it would have been a dangerous break for Rangers, so he made the right decision there. So
free kick in midfield rather than a player in on Dibble. As Rangers take the kick, but the ref wasn't ready. So Wrexham still trailing 1-0 here to Rangers Colts, but are starting to put on some pressure. And, asking doing better in terms of territory in the second half without yet really opening Rangers up. Now here's Flanagan. Gets the ball back from Atakai and feeds it to the halfway line. Wrexham again happy holding their position, but again the midfield notably higher. Oswald on his own mind, just trying to chase. It's a subtle difference, but I think they are more of a 4-1-4-1 and a 4-3-3, and it's given the midfield a bit more boldness to push up as Flanagan plays a dreadful pass. Cleworth seemed to be fouled by Flanagan, nothing given, but the ball ricochets to McIntosh. He feeds it to Oswald on the halfway line. He's rather isolated. Back to Beaumont, who does well to sort his feet out and knock it over the top, and that's a bit of a tester for Breen, who has to put it behind for the corner. Good work by Beaumont, who's left-footed. The ball's played onto his left foot, but he manages to adjust his body shape and play it into a nasty area. Absolutely, I think it was Bickerstaff coming over from the right side to put the pressure on the defender as well, to put it out for that corner. Otherwise it would have just been a clear little turn and go at Wrexham again, but he did well to put the pressure on, and another corner for Wrexham. So Redmond will swing this one in from the left-hand side. The big men are lurking at the far post, ready to make some runs. Late run by Cleworth, but it's a poor corner at the near post, easily cleared by Maxwell. Atakai's holding it up, draws a foul from Matt Jones, who obligingly grabbed hold of him and pushed him, and Redmond is now apologising to his teammates because he didn't get the delivery out there. Free kick taken quickly. Good tackle by Tharm. Now then, Beaumont's won it well and goes driving forwards. He comes central onto his right foot, finds Oswell, pops it back to Beaumont. There's an overlap on the right here from Barnum Bob, but it was a difficult ball to execute. Beaumont held on to it and fed it over now to Barnum Bob in a crossing position. Takes on his man, left edge of the area, sweeps it in. Oswell gets up and heads it over the bar from 6 yards out. Defender was leaning into him, making it difficult. But Wrexham is starting to get on top now. Absolutely, a great work from Beaumont, working it from this left-hand side, going into the middle, playing out to Barnum Bob. Whipped in a lovely ball into Oswald, but just couldn't quite get over it to direct it goalwards there. But much better from Wrexham. So, goal kick taken short. Oswald, that was a chance. Defenders leaning on him made it more difficult, I think, leaning back into him. But it was a chance. Rangers now trying to play it forward. Atakai. Abija has Beaumont on him. He's clever. He clips a lovely ball round the corner to Dixon on the right. He's only got young Coombs in the middle, marked by the two centre-backs, so he takes on Jones. Good tackle by Jones. It's picked up again, though, by the Rangers man, who pops it into Atakai. His ball over the top is intercepted. McIntosh back defending. He's worked hard in the second half since they've shifted that shape slightly. Does well to bring it away, but can't find Oswell. And Mayo will sweep it up on the halfway line once more. Has to go back to the edge of his own area. Rangers once more looking to build from deep. Once more Wrexham building that midfield wall a bit higher up the pitch and just keeping them away from the penalty area. Spread over to Flanagan, right hand side. He has to pop back to the halfway line. Wrexham's defensive line is higher, the midfield line is higher. It looks better as the ball hits Jones, and the referee's given up. I mean, how can the ref give that? He's given that ball against Jones. It was on the ref's blind side. So I can't see how he could see that. The linesman didn't give it on this side. But he's done it. And it'll be taken, and we're halfway through the second half, so it's time for James to take us through to the final whistle.
Well, it's been a more impressive second half of Wrexham, yet to really test right in goal, apart from a couple of crosses, but Rangers have got some good movement, as they had in the first half, and plenty of pace around just to catch us on the counter-attack. But at least the switch to the 4-1-4-1 has resulted in some positives for Wrexham, as here come Rangers again with Kennedy on that left-hand side. Cuts in, Kennedy gets it again, this time in midfield. Breen out to Flanagan on the right-hand side. He delivers quickly to Ataki. Ataki back out to Kennedy. Kennedy looks to the room, doesn't get it. Bajonas tries to play a 1-2 with a loot path, and Wrexham smash it clear with Doug Tharm. Bickerstaff might get this as he puts pressure on the Rangers players and does well there. Oswald tries to play Bickerstaff over the top as the Reds surge forward. Rangers just get a foot in, it goes for a throw in, but it's an attacking throw in, level with that 18-yard box in front of those travelling away fans. Back to Redmond. Redmond tries to feed Barnum Bob between centre half and full back, and just read well there by Maxwell. Rangers in possession. Strong challenge, but the referee goes back to chant a foul on Kennedy by Barnum Bob. Central location in Rangers half. It's been one you think the set piece might do the trick here for Wrexham if they can get the right delivery. Here comes Atatake driving at this Wrexham defence again. Beaumont holds him up well enough and gets a foot in. It's read by Cloworth. He spreads it looking for Oswell on the left hand side, but it's too long, and Wrexham just haven't got the pace up there really to exploit that option.
No, not really. I think pace would be I'm not sure whether the players on the bench have got any pace about them, but it would be a real good asset to us now going forward when we are sort of counter-attacking down that right-hand side. Bickerstaff's done well when he's come on. I don't think he's quite got the pace to trouble many people, but he's certainly been putting the pressure on and creating chances since he's come on.
Here come Rangers again down the right-hand side. McIntosh, who has worked hard in this second half, again doing defensive duties with diligence. Atataki into Mayo. Mayo spreads it into the feet of Dickinson. Here's Bajonas, who gets a shot away. Dibble spills it and is going to be 2-0 to Rangers. Bajonas with the initial shot. Dibble makes a mess of it. It spills out, and young Coombs, alive in the box, just knocks it in. Wrexham had been asking a few more questions and looking more dominant, but I think that's the match at 2-0 there, Lee.
Yeah, I think so. You know, although we've had the better of the possession in the second half, we've not been making that clear-cut chance, and unfortunately it's a mistake by Dibble, who in the first half I think he had one quite similar where he parried it away but was able to claim it that time. That time there was a player running in and he just couldn't collect it in time and taps it into an open net. Well,
the Rangers fans in that corner on the bottom of the Sandy Jardine stand in full voice now, and the young Bears and Colts doing them proud as there's another substitution going to be made just before we get back underway. Can't see who it is. Can you, Lee?
I think they're leaving it.
No, leaving it for the moment.
Against it.
Okay, I saw the assistant put his flag up. Lots of come on the Mons here from the Rangers fans in chat. I always thought Mon was a Shropshire term, so please explain that one to me if someone can. Wrexham get the play underway. Doug Tharm drills it into McIntosh, who skips past one player. Shooting opportunity, takes it. The first time Wrexham have got one on target in anger, and it's a 30-yard drive, but not enough power and straight out right. No, not enough. There was, he had time to hit it. I think he made the right decision to hit it there. There wasn't all too many passes around him. Didn't really trouble the goalkeeper at all, but get off first shot on target, like you say. Yeah, nice to see someone direct again. Ball into feet, into McIntosh again from Redmond. McIntosh now central, still running round. Has a few players around him. Back to Barnum Bob. Barnum Bob feeds it back to McIntosh, who's now on the right hand side. McIntosh gets the delivery in. Oswell can't quite get his feet right, and it's cleared by Breen. Only as far as Beaumont. Beaumont recycles it to Cleworth and then follows his run. But Atataki doing his work in defensive duties. Wrexham, though, get it back to Redmond in the centre. Mid-side inside the Rangers half, and gains possession but goes nowhere with it. Forced backwards. Chambers. Wrexham in Rangers' half this time. Out to the left-hand side, Beaumont. Beaumont under pressure from young Coombs, but gets it back to Chambers, who tries to thread the ball with the eye of a needle and gets it all wrong. Right, puts it back up. There's a player being What's gone on in the corner there, Mark? Is there a player off injured, or has there someone been escorted out?
Atmosphere, I think, James. What it is?
Just looked like it sounded like an applause of appreciation, and there's a big contingent coming over here. Anyway, Flanagan, that right back for Rangers on the halfway line. Rangers now switching to a patient, not having to press or push now. They've got the 2-goal lead here on the Wrexham AFC Mixler channel. Clwyth, who's been the most impressive Wrexham player so far, certainly this half, threads it across, but here come Rangers as they overtake possession, drive into the box, feeds it to Kennedy. Kennedy with a shot. Dibble parries, it might come for Atataki, and Tharm just reads it and knocks it away from him. Jones to Beaumont. Beaumont, right-footed, launches it up, looking for Oswald. Oswald backs into his man again. The young centre-half deals with the more experienced Wrexham man. Breen urging his players in front of him to calm down. Just relax. Outside to Maxwell, the lad who started right wing and switched to the left-hand side. No, there is an injured supporter, I think, and that's what he was getting the clap. So there's something going on, but I couldn't see what was happening. Hopefully he's okay, being looked after by the medical staff. Atataki battles with Beaumont, and Beaumont gives away the foul. The Rangers to put in on this near side. Yellow card for Beaumont for the late challenge. Rangers now are going to make the substitution. It's going to be Lyle is coming on. Yet to see who's going off though. Number 18 is being ready. It looks like Atataki will be the one that's subbed. He was very keen pre-match to tell the Wrexham photographer he would score a hat-trick today and to take some pictures of him. Gotta love the confidence of the youngster. He has been an attacking threat throughout, but not so lucky in front of goal today. Kennedy, who has been impressive on free kick duties, takes it short inside to Bajonas. He's just comfortable on the ball and lays off another pass into space. Back to Kennedy. Kennedy back to Flanagan.
Attention please, attention please.
Back into Kennedy. Kennedy turns. Bajonas, great ball around the corner to the substitute Lyle. He pulls it back and it's just blocked out by Wrexham and Matt Jones. Corner taken short. Kennedy played into Mayo. Here's Edmund. Edmund forced wide. Who'd Wrexham having to deal with centre halves now playing up in the 18-yard box. Kennedy, quick feet, gets inside, gets a little space, gets the ball back, sees a red wall, and stupid challenge there by McIntosh as Kennedy was going nowhere, and now Rangers have a free kick lead in a better position, right for a shooting chance.
Yeah, didn't need to do it there. He was going nowhere. Now he's given it in a dangerous position. Ever since that second Rangers goal, it's been Rangers returning to their first half performance, hasn't it? They've picked up their confidence again and took a hold of this game and took it off where Wrexham were having the majority of the possession.
Well, there's a few players around it. Maxwell and Kennedy, the two lurking. Wrexham have a three-man wall, plus Beaumont just marking no one. He's marking the runner. Maxwell delivers, left-footed. Dibble can easily get that. Young Coombs was the target, and I think the Wrexham head managed to knock it back. Here's Barnum Bob. Forced backwards, though, and Wrexham's counter-attack is short-lived. Good turn there by Clwyth, and he's made acres of space run into. Beaumont's outside him, gets it, but he's going to have to cut back on his right-hand side. Drives forward and drives inside, and the move somewhat comes to a stop. Back to Chambers. Inside to Redmond. Redmond out to Barnum Bob, and Barnum Bob forced back to Tharm. It was a promising run by Clwyth, who turned well and took out the Rangers midfield.
Yeah, he's done well in there today. He's done really well just to try and break up play at times, been playing passes around as well, and for a youth player you can see him actually being quite vocal out there as well. You know, he's not the captain today, but he is still a youth player, but he's vocal out there. He looks like a promising player that is today playing out of position as well.
Well, it's good to see for the future. It's what Wrexham need to see as they get a free kick just inside the Rangers half. innocuous challenge on Redmond. Here's Chambers. Chambers tries a cross-field ball, looking for Oswell. Oswell pirouettes round it and doesn't get anywhere near. Maxwell smashes it long. Farm brings it down comfortably into Clewith. He's under pressure from Jonas, who's been impressive for Rangers. Down the right-hand side, looking for Redmond. Comes off a Rangers player's last, and Wrexham will have a throw-in, as now Wrexham go to the bench themselves. Young Callum Huxley will be coming on. Interesting. Well, Wrexham have taken the throw-in quickly, so they'll have to wait a bit longer to make his appearance. Still going for it in the right-hand side corner, Redmond and Barnum Bob against Maxwell, but Rangers come out with the ball into young Coombs, who holds it up and allows Kennedy to get in possession. Back into midfield with Bajonas. He drives forward immediately. Cross to Mayo. Mayo's been a bit quieter in this second half, but Wrexham have pushed forward a bit. 1-2 with Flanagan to Lyle. Lyle back to Bajonas. So Lyle on his right hand side. He looks to take up Beaumont. Goes inside and outside. Zigzags again back to the byline and pulls the ball back, but no one's there, and Wrexham smash it clear for a throw-in. The substitution is going to happen this time. So Wrexham exchange another youngster for another youngster. Is that Matt Jones is going off?
Yeah.
Matt Jones is off and Huxley is on. Huxley looked promising in the FA youth ties. Good tricky winger. But it looks like he's going to play more of a midfield role today in this 4-1-4-1. Here's Mayo, gets to the byline in the corner now, working. Finds a good roll bar on the corner, Bajonas. Bajonas, comfortable on the ball, spins. Always got his head up as well. Into Kennedy. Kennedy back to Bajonas. Just knocks it for Flanagan. Kennedy tries to get in that bottom line, and first touch for Huxley is to try and mark him. Kennedy's got past him, gets the byline. Tricks, gets the byline, pulls it back, and again a red shirt is there. Still asking though. Lyle tries to play a quick 1-2, and that is an offside. As Kennedy again starting to come back into this game.
Yeah, he looks a real promising youth player. You know, he's getting his head up, he's running at defenders. As soon as he picks up the ball, he knows what he wants to do. He wants to run at defenders, and that's all he's done all game. You know, we're 80 minutes into this game, and he's still doing it even now.
Well, Dibble will restart play just outside his area. Wrexham need a goal if they're going to have any hope of a grand finale here in the quarter-final at Ibrox. 2-0 down, 1 goal in each half. Bajonas and young Coombs for the young Bears. Young Coombs gives chase on Chambers. Chambers calmly back to Dibble, and Dibble hooks it back into the now darkening sky. Lyle pulls it down from the air well, just holds and retains possession, plays a 1-2 with Flanagan, back to his centre-half partner Edmonton, and out wide to Maxwell. Barnum Bob at the races quickly there and just intercepts and puts it out for a throw-in on the halfway line. It's a bit of an anticlimax to go out and not really, trouble the keeper, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of dying out this game now, isn't it? Wrexham, they had that spell at the first part of the second half, and then it's kind of the second goal has really killed us off and not given us much of a hope, and we're not really getting at Rangers all too much. Well, we're not getting out at all, to be honest, which is disappointing to see this game close out like that.
Mayo in control in midfield, plays it to Bajonas, works it back to Edmondson, to Flanagan, and then to Breen. Everyone comfortable on the ball and always moving, particularly this young lad Kennedy as he twists and turns. Doesn't really go anywhere with purpose this time, but eventually works it to Bajonas. Young Coombs drops short, delivers it, and the ball over the top to Flanagan, who can deliver first time to the far post, looking for Lyle. Lyle will have to do well to keep that in. Does get a touch to it, but allows Barnum Bob to rob it off him and put it out for a throw on the far side. Wrexham Seems a few of the fans have gone home. It looks a little bit more sparse over there in that middle section.
It does. You know, that I don't know what they were expecting when they were coming up here today, whether they were expecting a Wrexham win or Rangers win. I didn't know what I was thinking, to be honest, but they've come up here, they've had their day out. You know, you'll never get to see Wrexham play here again, I highly doubt.
Well, perhaps not in a competitive game, depending how many times, as the ball's played beautifully into the box for Rangers players to attack. Back to be honest, into the impressive Kennedy. I'm quite happy, Rangers, for him to be the focal point. Here's Flanagan on the right hand side, who's popped up again. Rangers work it when threading. Kennedy with the ball in again, and it's just met as young Coombs was lurking.
Seems to be every sort of Rangers attack, Kennedy is involved in every single part of their play, isn't he?
Yeah, he's pivotal to the way they play. I think Bajonas and Mayo allow him the space to do that. They've got a lot of experience, a lot of time on the ball, and they're happy for the youngster to be the playmaker, as McIntosh is caught late there by Dickinson. That'll probably be a yellow card. He is calling the youngster back. Leighton McIntosh, obviously a Scottish local. He's came down to try his luck in the National League this season. He's got a couple of goals in this competition in the last round.
He's not booked in for that one. I thought that was a bad late tackle there. I really thought he would have...
Yeah, that was a standard yellow card challenge. It was straight out of the referee's rule book. Point 1, yes. Do not go to point 2. However, this referee does not agree. Dibble launches it long. Ball's deep in the Rangers half. And now smashed back into the Wrexham half. Cleworth tries to turn it around the corner again. There's a blue shirt there, and just steady in possession. Back to Maxwell at left back. Kennedy dinks a lovely ball for Flanagan to run onto. Keeps it in. 2 Wrexham players get there, but by doing so they allow Lyle to get some room. Shot comes in, Dibble parries it, and the second ball is met by Cleworth. Leighton McIntosh manages to hold it and then plays a horrid ball for Bickerstaff, who's, well, rightly annoyed that he can't make any profit of that, because Wrexham finally had a 3-on-3.
Yeah, absolutely, and a ball like that, you know, he never stood any chance of getting onto that one. I'm not sure why he didn't keep the ball and drive at Rangers and try and force him into like a 3-on-2 situation, but no, he just lashed it out, and Bickerstaff had no chance for that one.
Well, Rangers fans also make the exit. They've seen their young Bears side do the business as they make their third and final substitution. Number 14 is on, which is Zach Butterworth, and he's come on for number 10, Dixon. So all 3 changes made by Rangers. Just the 2 so far for Wrexham. I hope Dean Keats will use his last substitution and allow another youngster a bit of a venture onto the Ibrox pitch.
Well, they'll be hoping so, won't they?
No room for sentiment in this game, James.
Well, they're 2-0 down with a few minutes to go. I'm a sentimental type, Mark. As Rangers have a free kick on the far side. Taken quickly into Mayo. Mayo looks round. Still 2-0 here to Rangers in this quarter-final at Ibrox. Rangers Colts make a mistake with a bad pass, but Flanagan's got plenty of room. Leighton McIntosh just give chase. Lyle, who's since come on, has looked lively. Back to Edmondson. Edmondson to Breen. Breen comes forward. Threads a ball nicely into the substitution that's just come on. Butterworth. Rangers retaining possession. Back into Mayo in the centre circle. Wide to Maxwell. Gets the 1-2. Mayo turns. Does what Barton does, but at 400 miles an hour quicker. Into Flanagan. Flanagan to Kennedy, plays a 1-2. That's a great ball back to Kennedy from Lyle. Kennedy drives forward. He's got 5 blue shirts to aim at. He's still getting there. Tries to nick one from the outside of the boot to Dibble's right hand side. Didn't get the power behind it. Great running from the Rangers youngsters there to pull the defence away and allow Kennedy to run with attacking speed there.
Absolutely, it's all he's done all game is just put pressure on this Wrexham defence and run at them and trouble them. He's done really well. Lyle as well, number 18 for them, has done exactly the same.
Ball falls kindly for Bickerstaff, who cuts inside and challenge is met. Might fall for Wrexham, but not quite, as Huxley was lurking to get the shot away and Rangers just got the foot in. Bickerstaff did well there initially, knocked it past his man to the inside.
Yeah, he's not done much in sort of the last 10-15 minutes, but to be honest, there's not been much pressure by the Wrexham team. But when he came on, he was putting pressure on, trying to create chances. He's put pressure on again, but not had all too much of a sort of feed to him to make any sort of chances.
Well, Rangers have named their man of the match as Bajonis. I think it'd be hard to argue with that, him maybe and Kennedy, but Bajonis has allowed, him and Mayo for me have allowed Kennedy to do what he wants. And obviously you'll get the delight to name the Wrexham man of the match, Lee.
Yeah.
Not as much pressure as I put on you last week with Luke Young's wonder strike. You might have to think about this one a bit more today.
I will think about this one.
As there is a player down in the Rangers box. Looks like young Green, is it? Yeah.
He just took a knock when he cleared the ball away.
As players take the opportunity to have a drink of water and fresh. It's a little bit colder now up here. You've got your Hogwarts tie on there, Lee.
I've been freezing today, absolutely freezing.
It's a scarf, to be fair. Jeez, I don't think a tie would help him much with it.
A men's scarf.
Yeah.
My fashion sense isn't much, Mark. It was an item of clothing round his neck. I was in the right area, at least. But yeah, it has been cold. Although North Ferriby still remains the coldest game of football I've ever been to.
Did you know that Croatia gets its name from the cravat?
I didn't know.
Well, now you do. Fab fact.
Was it a red and white cravat?
Quite possibly.
Okay. Well,
and you find in a second-hand store, Prince. Thank you very much.
There's enough radio filler for you because we're back underway, thankfully.
Fella?
Fashion
Killer, no fella.
Fashion sense is not our worldly strength. However, random Croatian facts are. Kick is taken. McIntosh chests it down, works it inside as Cleworth tries to drive forward. Wrexham get a throw in a decent attacking area, taken quickly by Beaumont into Cleworth, who turns into midfield, is fouled by Kennedy and gets the free kick. Devontae Redmond should be able to deliver a decent ball here. Wrexham immediately send Tharm and Chambers forward. If they get a goal here, it could be a dramatic last few seconds stroke minutes.
Yeah, no board here though. Strangely, Ibrox have had no board whatsoever.
No. Redmond delivers to the far post, falls for a red shirt. Handball claims, and there's another shot come in. Still a red presence can't get a shot away, and here come Rangers with the attack. Can it be kept in on the far side? It is. Good play by Kennedy. Oh, another man down. I think it's Breen again. No substitution left for Rangers, so they would have to go to 10 men. As Wrexham do not look like they're using that third substitution, so Dean Keats has no sentiment. But bigger fish to fry in the league, and Rochdale on Tuesday night. It's going to be an interesting journey. Probably take just as long to get to Rochdale as it will to Scotland on a Tuesday night, trying to go through Manchester on the motorway. Ball is there. Redmond gets a good header on to McIntosh. McIntosh tries to put it in the corner for Huxley. Huxley gives Flanagan some thought, but he does well, the former Liverpool man, and breaks it away. Here comes young Coombs. Cleworth again breaks up play, tries to drive, doing something positive, tries to feed it out to Huxley, but it's intercepted by Flanagan. Flanagan plays a great ball into Kennedy. Kennedy's got young Coombs driving alongside him. Chambers tries to get him up into the boxes. Kennedy, and Chambers does well this time, gets the tackle. Sets Cleworth. Cleworth to Huxley. Huxley's got room to run if he wants to. Cuts inside and takes it past Bajonis. Bajonis rather cynically takes him out as he'd beaten his man there. There's no real need, but a tactical foul and the yellow card.
Yep, good to see Huxley running at them as well. Maybe it would have been nice to see him a little bit earlier on, because he seems to. We were talking about pace earlier. It looks like he's got it, and the dribbling ability as well. Yeah,
he's like a little bit of a youth Tollett to a certain extent, isn't he? He likes to drive and be direct and has a bit of pace. obviously not as tall, but Redmond delivers the ball to far post, met by a blue shirt again, and the offside flag is up. But yeah, no, I like what I see with Huxley. Like I said, he's got pace and he's got direct ability, and there is the final whistle. A referee that doesn't wait for the kick to be taken for a strange move, and Wrexham have battled well against the Young Bears, but that first half was outclassed and eventually go down 2-0 here at Ibrox.
Shame that for Wrexham, and like I say, a shame for the travelling crowd who've come a long way, but the side we picked made us second favourites, I suppose, didn't it, in the end? And
absolutely, it was, the first half was dominated by them. I think our best spell of possession came in that first sort of 15-20 minutes of the second half. But as soon as they got that second goal, it did completely kill the game. We didn't really break forward much at all. And Rangers, well, they deserved their win.
I've got to be honest, I thought we were heading towards penalties when it was 1-0 in the second half. We were improved and were starting to ask questions, and I did wonder whether we were going to get back into this.
Yeah, I did. I did wonder. That it's just second. Well, the first goal killed us when they had all the possession, but we looked fairly solid defending the penalty area. And then when we did actually start to get a bit of possession in the second half without really causing Wright or the Rangers Colts defence much trouble, we never created the chances really, and then we got hit again. We were always likely to be on the counter attack with the pace and the passing they had. Just on a previous question, I asked what mon the jers was, etc., because obviously that's a nice Shropshire term for hire mon, like a friend stroke bloke, but apparently it's short for come on. So there we go. That's explain that one.
Now we know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I'm quite interested because a key media team away fact. We've all picked Highland League teams because often following Wrexham you can have some random results, and sometimes you need entertaining in the car. So we have a look at the Highland League results. I have Fort William as my side, and they often say Mon the Forts. I always wonder what it was, so I've had the opportunity. Thank you, Rangers fans, for answering that question for me. Wrexham, the youngsters will have enjoyed that day out there, will they, won't they?
Yeah, the experience on the pitch. They've not come here and got battered, a 2-0 defeat. They're a good team, this Rangers youth team, but to come here, get the experience. And when you're playing in front of, I'm not sure what the attendance was here today, 5,000, the atmosphere is fantastic. In a stadium that's, there's not many people here compared to the overall capacity of it. It's a great experience to come to a stadium like this and play a competitive game. It's something they won't forget.
It is a great experience, I agree, and there's a number of people in that far right-hand corner for Rangers that have just, apart from the second half quiet period when we suddenly noticed that there was nothing, they were, from the start to that period and then after that period, they were brilliant. But it doesn't take many. There's a fair few that are there, but if you get a couple of hundred fans to do that, what a difference to an atmosphere in a stadium. Yeah. And Wrexham, I know, will try it at home with the drum and all that sort of stuff, but the bouncing, the movement, it just that I would imagine that becomes quite infectious and it almost inspires you to join in a little bit. And it was done there was no derogatory singing or anything like that. It was just a bouncing behind the team and making noise and enjoying the day for them. So I really enjoyed seeing that.
Absolutely, and for them Rangers youth players as well to come out and see that's the fans that have come out today to support their youth team. It must be great to see the club that they're working towards getting in that first team and playing for.
I'd love the idea, because we got some terrific fans, and it was the attempt with the 12th man to make that sort of thing happen at the racecourse. I'd love it if some of the fans who came today were inspired by them and maybe thought that would be worth doing, because then that would be a fantastic thing to add to the atmosphere of the racecourse. Is the Wrexham fans have all been kept behind. There was an announcement, and that's frustrating for them. But at least they can enjoy Ibrox, I guess, one more time. They're making a bit of noise as well. Finally,
well, yeah. Finally having the opportunity to be able to out-sing, because the Rangers fans have, you can hear them, a nice chance of Wrexham, and I'm sure a few of them, if they're staying over, will enjoy it, and at the same time I'm sure they'll have enjoyed their day in visiting a new stadium, a new city.
Man of the match. Got to have the man of the match call, Lee. Who are you going for?
Well, there's two. I'm going to choose one, but for me, it's either Doug Farm or Max Cleworth. And for me, I'll go for Max Cleworth. I think in the middle of midfield, a player that wasn't playing in his familiar position, I thought he battled really well in there. He was one of the players in there that was looking to make a pass, looking to receive a pass a little bit further up. No, he impressed me today. A young player that was vocal in there as well. So he's my man of the match.
100% agree. That's exactly what I would have said if I'd been asked. Was those were the two contenders. But Cleworth, I thought, was excellent. He read the game very well. He was intercepting very well. Generally, he was careful with the ball, but he didn't lose it very often. And he also, that turn that James described so well, where he basically turned the entire Rangers midfield and created loads of space and drove into it, was very impressive. He is often looking up to see where Beaumont was and was fed him in the second half. I'm massively impressed with Cleworth, and I can't help wondering whether that might be the young player out of these 3 games who might be someone we could look to use, because we need a holding defender, I would argue, and he might get some pitch time perhaps, isn't there?
Yeah, potentially. I think it's almost a pity that Matty Sargent is away on loan, really, because I think he could fit that role well, and looks very mature among his years. But Cleworth, again, another player that centre half potentially, and excelled in a position that's not his. Is it one to go with and one to have a look with? It certainly, like you said, when you're going back to that Ask Wrexham question, when you're you're looking at, you're building your 15 or 16, and you can get 2 or 3 youth players in that you can rely on and know will do a job and will come in and be able to stand up to a level, then it does give you options.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's looked promising, isn't he? So fair play. Let's hope we can build on that in the future. Eh?
Well, hopefully, but it's been an experience.
Yeah.
Unless we finish in the top 4 of the National League and don't go up again, we shall not be back. But it's been an experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would prefer to finish in the top 4 or top 7 and go up, go back to the Football League, rather than come and visit again. And that's not in a disrespectful way. That's just what I'd rather do.
Well, if not, maybe Parkhead next season. We'll all meet again.
Yep.
Right, we might as well get in the warm, I suppose, won't we?
Yeah. So thank you for joining us, everyone, today. And we've been Mark Griffiths, Lee Milford and James Harrison from the Wrexham AFC